there any other questions or comments on the paper that we received? I know we received a copy via email, and I noticed that you added those code references to local design criteria, which is excellent. Thank you.
I had a couple of notes, I don't know if we could talk about these. First of all, I think we asked the question where to pull it on the website,
We did ask that.
and I thought under the building department.
Yeah,
And we mentioned this, so I don't know, but in the first paragraph, it said planning board approval. I thought it should be planning board and or zoning board.
we get the revised copy and just
I didn't get another copy, so for all I know, it's been changed, I don't know.
in the packet that I put in front of you, there should be an
Oh, you had it.
updated copy on the second page. And I
So, I mean, this is very changing against. All right, it says planning board and or zoning board.
Yeah,
right there.
so the sentence
Okay.
change should be, if the proposed system is not in conformance with all applicable zoning laws and regulations, approval should be required from the town from including but not limited to the planning board and or zoning board.
I think Carla, you had talked about this, so let's see if,
I asked for the code references, which I know have been updated
well, this on the permit fees, where it's all
on the back.
yeah, there's prices there. I had thought, and I think we had mentioned it, and the same way we do it, in our other regulations. Instead of spelling it out that way, we have like that list. You say, you know, please see the town's fee list instead of listing it, because, you know, if 3 months from now it's changed, then we gotta change the whole drawing.
I wonder, I think that for the people that are applying for this, it might be helpful to see it, would be my thoughts, but I wonder if we just add a note up at the top that says like reference town fee schedule to confirm.
That's
I think
fine,
that's changed.
yeah. Where is the fee schedule? Is it like posted?
I have not seen the fee schedule, so I don't know that it's.
Really?
You're-
Well, 'cause when we did the subdivision regulations, we took out all incomes.
Right, and there was the same law that was passed a couple of years ago that said that all municipal fee schedules will be posted in each town hall.
Yeah.
Made readily available for folks, so
So,
generally, you would put them on their website.
yeah, so if I go to the website, our new little revamped website, and I click on the permits and forms, then there's a drop down for building department, and under that it says building permit fees. So we could just, you know, maybe we just want to add reference building permit fees document.
So you like.
So you don't think we have-
It's a hot link, and then.
Yeah, you can link it to the,
It's linked,
yeah,
that way they're not associated. But when we were looking for the fees, it was, we spent quite a bit of time.
well, that's why I'm like, I don't want you to take it out, because like, we're all sitting here. with our card. I just want to update,
So isn't there a hard copy of the fees posted somewhere? And, you know,
it might be on the bulletin board back there.
in the office, your office, Kathy's office, I don't know.
It's not until I know it's official and it's an approved document by all, because we're still getting comments, we're not gonna post it.
No, she's asking about the fee
The
schedule.
actual fee schedule, that was approved.
Yeah,
Should have been, yeah, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
So there is a fee schedule outside of, Kathy's office
Okay.
and Gino's office
I love the idea of hyperlinking to it. I think that's great.
on the document, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure that isn't already.
Oh, you know what? It is. I just can't click on it because it's in front of me. So you have the schedules, Colin, so we can. They've already done that.
When this is per thousand, $5 per thousand, that's of the project value, is that right? For the project value? I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Is, I don't know, I was here last meeting, but If the purpose of this is to try to make things easy for people who, it seems to me the purpose is to make it easy. for
Yeah.
people who can't pull it all together themselves.
Well, this language, Aaron, was pulled directly. I'm looking at the fee schedule right now, and the fee schedule literally just says $5 per thousand. It doesn't say per.
Yeah, I would think maybe that, I mean, it might be worth thinking about just putting an extra 30 notice there or whatever to say that.
Yeah.
For $1,000 project, total project value or something.
Project cost. Okay, so we're gonna rescind our comments to link where this is coming from, because that's already been done. There's a link to the solar permit fee schedule. Tells us what to do. We might want to add a note that the per thousand is for the total project cost. I didn't have any other comments to do. And then I agree with Mary. I think that, if it makes sense to you all, like I said, I went on the website earlier today to just look at where I might go to look for this thing. And on our new website, right on the side, it says permits and forms. And so I'm thinking permits and forms, and then underneath the building department is, probably where I would go to look for it. And then if we wanted, I don't know if posting it twice is possible or if it gets confusing. There's also another drop down for the energy committee. I could see posting it there for redundancy.
Yeah, you can post it.
Yeah,
And then the link to one. So
Yeah.
it's linking the same, so if you change it, it's changed.
right. Yeah, so that would be my suggestion, that we do it under the building department permits and forms, and then under the energy committee. In case somebody was going that route. Does that make sense to everyone? Are there any other comments? So I think the only substantial change then would just be adding that the $5 per thousand and $10 per thousand under the permit fees is like per $1,000 in project cost. That looks great.
Well, thank you, and shall I just get that revised document to Peter, and you will take care of the posting? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is a great little guideline that you've put together. All right. Next. Right, agenda.
Peter, when did you send this?
The update I saw yesterday.
No, I'm still having trouble sending this stuff. I'll look again when I go home, but it might be.
It was like last Thursday, last Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not-
Yeah, we were all set.
Father, no conversation. Okay, think about it.
Let's want to hear about good news.
I'll look again. You know, maybe I,
I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday.
that's odd.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah.
Because I remember trying to get us, before the weekend, so
I'll double check.
I didn't get a return saying it didn't go in, so
So unless you eliminated me.
not after all. week.
All right.
You look very lonely over there. Right, for a little.
It's got two microphones.
Do we have anything for the master plan that we would like to discuss tonight?
Sorry, I'm not supposed to provide you anything new, so you have nothing for me.
Great. We do have from you, however, updates on language for accessory dwelling units. So that's the ADU section changes. Under section 3.2.3. And that is simply updating to remove references to the conditional use permit that we now no longer grant. Glenn, I noticed that you also just added the size minimums. Shall not be more than 950 square feet and less than 650 square feet.
I am this.
Okay, you added it, someone added it.
So it's not nice, but I actually think that the state law says, even though we say that, in a dwelling unit in town can't be smaller than 650 feet. I think the state law says that ADUs can't be made to be less than 750 square feet.
Okay, so let's check that
Right,
number.
these are new, and I think like the 950 refers to, if you do not have an ordinance about dwelling units, then it's 950, but if you have an ordinance, our 900 could still stand. The way the regulations read. If there was no mention of an ordinance in a town, 950 was the max. But we had an ordinance at 900, so that would still stand, if we wanted it to stand. The 650,
I don't believe that's true, Peter. I believe that the state law says that as a right, an ADU can be 950 square feet.
So they don't have the RSI number?
yeah, I had it. I think I can.
I'll be bringing my copy.
RSA 674, maybe 72. I'm seeing one reference to that.
The files that I handed out with all the new changes.
Oh, effective July 1st, 2025, RSA 674-71 the hearing. The only other thing, and I'm assuming it was changed, right? We only have to require one off-street parking spot for,
Correct. You can't say.
can't say it's two. Mary, I'll give you a minute, 'cause I don't know if you got it beforehand to see if you caught anything else. But I think just checking those square footages was the only question. And then do we have to phrase this as like special warrant article?
Yeah,
We do.
yeah. And I'll put that language together. But more importantly, we need to have a public hearing on it, because,
Yeah, we were talking about December.
yeah, it has to have at least one public hearing.
So we talked about doing one in December. That would give us a second in January if we needed it. So we would want to put this on the public hearing. We want to do a warrant article public hearing at the December meeting.
That's a great idea.
For the, does anyone have any other comments on the ADU language?
The only thing I'm seeing is, municipality may also establish minimum and maximum sizes, provided that the size may not be restricted to less than 750 square feet. So, as
So,
long as we say maximum is something higher than 750, it's okay.
can we say the minimum is 650?
Yes, it doesn't, that doesn't have a minimum.
Okay.
What I'm reading does not have a minimum. I'll double check it with the source, but not a minimum, it just says whatever maximum, that must be at least 750.
So if we held 900 previously. And Glenn, I'm watching your face thinking we might want to
Yeah,
double
I'm
check this.
pretty sure there is a requirement that 950
Yeah.
is the,
So if it has to be
they have to be
950,
allowed to be at least 950.
then I think
There's another,
we should go with it. But if not, then to me, the warrant article becomes simpler if we don't change the size and we just keep our 900.
This was not, it came from the conference I mentioned, the clarification on the requirement.
Yeah, just so default maximum size of 950 square feet, and the town can allow them to be larger.
well, we just said default.
Here's the revised
So I
one.
mean, if you put, I mean, that, or if you put something else, then the default doesn't apply. What is the other thing?
I mean, the description of the HB 577 off the lot, so. But
Yeah, this is the handout we got, I found from them. The ordinance may establish size limits, but it may not limit an ADU to less than 750 square feet. The total living space shall not exceed 950 square feet. Unless otherwise authorized by the municipality.
So we can set a limit higher than
That's
that.
it.
yeah, I mean, in Kingston, we allow it to be 50% of the size of the standard of the existing house. But that's above and beyond what the state law says you can do.
This doesn't say it can't be less than 950 square feet. Total living space shall not exceed.
Yeah, so we're allowed to go higher than 950, we're allowed to go lower than 950, we
That's-
can't go lower than 750.
So we could leave it at 9.
You could leave it at that.
So then my suggestion would be that for the simplicity
We
of the warrant article, we don't change it, we
Right,
keep
right.
it at 900. That makes sense?
It would provide parity for all those that we've only said 5,900.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Things change. Well, if they don't have to, then why do we do that?
yeah.
Send it to the DCF.
Yeah, I mean, they would be able to do that.
Yes.
They would be able to do that.
Okay. So we're gonna keep it at 900. And we're gonna go ahead and come up with some warrant article wording. We're gonna put this, we're gonna do a public hearing at the December meeting. Then,
Under number 5, a certificate of occupancy, it should really say issued by the town building inspector.
so the town inspector,
Presently just says town inspector.
Yep.
We really want that to say building inspector.
Take 2 minutes, this is the time for that.
Yeah.
On the first. Purpose, the edit for orange, it is statutory orange, so.
Purposes of this accessory building ordinance.
That's right.
Purposes are too, that's right.
And then other side at, 4C. That's what we go over, it must have separate cooking, et cetera. There shouldn't be a hyphen after ADU, should be ADU, that's not ADU, hyphen. Possession.
It's not.
it's not possession.
Those weren't yet, they were just being grammatically correct.
You know? Nothing is not, it's not.
I thought it was bad, it's not.
I was gonna say, I'll give you my markup.
So this,
Okay,
Take a break today.
and do we
Mary
want,
didn't have it.
and we'll leave the less than 650, it cannot be less than 650 square feet, because that's in our ordinance. I'm looking at 4F.
hey Glenn, just for clarification, what they said at the top, what they have under 674.72, section 7, that, what did I forget what it was?
What did you
It says
say?
maximum size of ADUs can be up to 950 square feet If no
More than.
municipal ADU ordinance, but a municipality can
Seven.
limit
That-
Can't
that-
limit to less than
Things not be
700.
restricted. That's great.
Right, so
They
if-
don't limit.
if there's
maybe
no-
less than 10.
It can be up to
But I'm not
950
saying,
if no municipal ADU ordinance.
Yeah, this will.
I'm saying it could be up to 900.
So.
Yeah,
that's
just
an
can't be
ADU
smaller.
ordinance.
Right, that's why we're gonna keep it at 900.
So we can leave it at 900.
But I'm even saying it still can't be less than 750.
Yeah,
Right,
that's what Mary was
we
reading
were just
too.
talking about, yeah.
So it should be 750.
It should
Yeah.
be 750.
Wait, sorry, it can't be less than 750.
Correct.
What?
Even,
The towns can
Read your
lower this, but not below 750.
The ordinance
Yeah, you
may
can't.
establish,
here, listen,
the ordinance may establish size limits, but it may not limit an ADU to less than 750 square feet. The total living space, shall not exceed.
Yeah, that's fine. This isn't saying you can't set a minimum. That's saying whatever maximum you set must be at least 750.
750.
Yeah,
No, maximum.
Yeah. that's not saying you can't say there's a minimum size. It says if you set a maximum, that maximum must be at least 750. That's what that's saying.
So in other words, if I have a 500 square foot room that I want to turn into a ADU, I can do it.
Well, no,
No, because our ordinance
We have
says
a-
the dwelling unit
Okay.
has to be
Yeah.
650.
but we can't, as a town, we can't say the maximum size of ADU is 600. That's what that says.
Okay.
It doesn't, there's nothing about minimums in that, in what you just read. Nothing about that, something about minimum sizes.
This was a very heated, not a heated, it was a big discussion because of the terminology. And,
Okay.
you know, it really,
Yeah.
So
you can't limit it, you can't limit the maximum to less than 700.
and so it doesn't say anything about,
And our building
Limiting.
code is what determined the 650.
Okay. I'm gonna give Peter my markups here. You can circulate them and we can all review one more time before the December public hearing. For the second item, refers to section 1.2, establish local land use boards. We've added a section about a planning board member needing to recuse himself or herself from voting matters on something that was previously decided by the zoning board of adjustment. Now, I have a question about where we're locating that. We're thinking,
Hold on, before, okay, but I thought this was the other way around.
well, this says when a planning board member also serves on the zoning board of adjustment, the individual recuse herself or himself from voting on matters previously decided by the zoning board, because presumably it will go to the zoning board for variance before it comes.
I think the statute says if a zoning board member is on the planning board, then the zoning board must recuse themselves if they've already decided at the planning board. If you look at the last slide actually on this, in this packet we have, that this explains how it doesn't go with this.
nothing would be approved by the planning board before the zoning.
No, this whole statute's stupid, I agree. But that's what it says. I've looked at this and talked through this.
Okay,
So
so we need to flip the wording.
it should be, if it, yeah, I mean, if, I don't hear last time, but I don't know why.
We haven't talked about this before.
Okay, I don't know if this needs to be in there, but I also don't really care if it's written, but it should be that if a zoning board member is on the planning board, then the zoning board member must recuse themselves if they previously decided they had to be planning.
That
That makes
doesn't,
sense.
that just, no, it doesn't. Well, I don't think it does.
It
Seems like it
doesn't,
should say already approved at the zoning. board.
so you would normally not have anything that went to planning board first. This makes, this would matter if it went to planning board before zoning.
Right.
That rarely ever happens, but that's how it's written for everything.
He's like talked to a bunch of people.
And it's, the reverse does not apply? Wow.
Okay, so
I
then,
can see where in the past, we've run parallel,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the problems when you're running parallel programs at the same time, that person would have a chance to vote this way or that way, in whatever, however the vote comes up
What's
first.
that, wouldn't the vote have to be conditional anyway?
Well, you'd also, it doesn't make sense, because then it's just saying, oh, well, as long as we do the votes the other order, then we're fine. Like, none of this makes sense. It's because it was originally drafted in such a way that just said you can't be on voter polls. That was the first statute that somebody proposed. They yelled at it.
Well, I think it has to do with it, where you can't vote on the same topic
Yeah, well,
on both boards.
so this is
I
how
mean,
we
you can be on both boards, but you can't vote on the same item.
And that's where, so it started, with you can't be on vote, that was the first thing that somebody proposed, you can't be on vote, somebody else said, no, you can't vote on vote. And then after the bunch of yells, we got this is what we have, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what this one. So you think this presently reads properly? No, this presently is wrong.
I copied this directly.
It should be everything in this section, everything in this that says, planning board should say, so it says that some board should say.
Yeah.
In this,
So therefore, your reasoning for leaving the planning board doesn't,
well, it still does, because in the events that we did have instances where somebody does something on the planning board, votes on it.
but you could just, I mean, the rarity
I could.
that happens, you could just.
I couldn't be, the other problem, but the other problem is that our town council has said that out of abundance of caution, I shouldn't vote on two things regardless of the order. So notwithstanding what here, he said, look, this is so screwed up and the language is so bad. Your best bet is just not vote on vote, even though the language says you could. And so
Even though
that's,
we've never held up to that standard before.
even though the language said, even whatever he said.
Wow.
This is so messed up, it's best just not to invite others. That's right.
So literally, the first response was the person, don't sit on both boards.
Right.
The first one.
The first thing that was offered, that said, simply don't sit on both boards.
Yeah.
Makes the most sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, except that, I mean, there's a reason we have it, right? Because I've been at zoning boards times and they said, hey, here, you've seen this at planning board. Is this a topic that they'll address at planning board? And we have like, so like, if they're feeling, oh no, what about this thing that we're all worried about? I'm like, look, don't worry about that. If it goes to planning board, they can deal with that. So it makes sense to have somebody on the zoning board that knows both things. Right? There's a good reason for that. Same reason you have the selectman right here. It's like he knows what's going on. Because it impacts what they do with select.
Well, there's also a logistic problem. This is not a community of 12,000 people.
You might not get it all,
You may not get a coin.
if you're saying that people can't sit on two boards.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been the response that I've heard for not knowing that. For me, it's troubling to expect that lay folks are going to have to determine which time they can vote and which time they can't vote.
I think that's probably true. Well, it's also true if you're on both boards, if you don't very clearly understand the difference between the two boards, it'd be very hard for you to like segregate out, oh no, this time I'm considering it, but I don't personally have an issue with it, just my background, but like I can see how most people would have problems. They'll say, no, that's a planning board issue. So, I mean, it's something I think, but. Don't see.
It's,
Well, we have to be sure that the language is right.
Yes.
That's what we have to do.
and this was an ad that I put in there, there was nothing else. So this is my suggestion.
Yeah.
So,
And so I think we should flip them around.
Do we need it? Do we need it?
Do we have,
Well,
do
so,
we have written guidance on this?
so my question was going to be, when I thought that it applied to, when I read it and it was flipped, right? We do have the rules and procedure for Kensington Planning Board. And so that's section 2.1. And then, underneath that, D is meetings, and number 5 specifically talks about disqualification and recusal. And so I wondered if it belonged there, but if it's, I don't know
I would personally, as the only person who is doing this right now, that this impacts, I would prefer that we don't put everything in the town rules because whoever might do this later, has followed along regardless, so whether we put in the rules or not, or whether we put in, sorry, by the, ordinance or not, they have to follow, so either way it's back. And if we put in the ordinance, then if they change this law, which is fairly likely, given that it's so messed up, 3 years from now, somebody's gonna look at this and they're probably gonna, wait, this doesn't make any sense, it's backwards, or it's just, it should have been written differently, and then we're gonna have to change it to update either to eliminate it or to whatever they fix it to. So I don't see any benefit to putting it in.
Unless we have somebody who next year is in the same figure.
Well, that's still bound, I mean, it's a law.
Right, it's the
Well,
law.
right.
My concern is why do we want to put something like this in the ordinance itself? In the guidance of the rules of procedure, that's a different thing.
Right, that's why I was wondering if it belonged in like the rules of procedure about recusal and like instances when you might recuse yourself. But
Well, so that is also probably, might be problematic, because the rules can't contradict the bylaw, or sorry, the ordinance. The ordinance says that a member can vote on whatever a member's allowed to vote on. So you're like stripping a member of their voting ability.
it actually references,
That's what this is doing. which is
Yeah.
Why it should still back. You shouldn't be able to sit up.
Yeah.
there.
well, so
You're gonna be disenfranchised on one. That makes no sense.
we currently reference, it says if any member finds it necessary to be disqualified from sitting on a particular case as provided in RSA 673-14. So like we do reference another RSA and what should happen. I don't know,
We just have that, just 674-13 or
yeah,
3.
yeah.
Do we need town,
Not for the rules of procedure.
that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
I mean, are you asking if we need rules of procedure?
No, if we have
that's
to
what we need.
put that as a warrant.
Town hall, yeah, we don't.
Yeah, no, rules of procedure do not require time though.
So then maybe, if people feel that this should be added in, maybe we just do it that way, in the rules of procedure,
We just reference this RSA.
in the same
I
place.
think that's what's the law.
That's what I was thinking.
It's 673
That's the RSA that says that you should not.
That's what the rule is basically for.
Right, and
So I'm
we don't
saying,
want to reference that.
yes, I'm saying we do want to reference that on page 3 of the rules of procedure. I want to add, we reference RSA 673-14, and then I just want to say RSA 673-3 and be done with it.
But you might as well just throw in also, or other refusal statutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, or other,
Other state law.
yeah, or other state law, yeah, that's exactly. Because there's also refusal standards somewhere out there, so. That's for general conflicts of interest.
Yeah,
I think it's 673-14.
it's just really weak. But it is that.
And unenforceable.
Okay, other things that I had on my list from last week. Excuse me, last meeting.
I was like, you had a meeting last week?
No.
She was alone.
She had the meeting by herself.
The other thing that I had on my list was a request that we talked about with Bob about changes to the septic. The 4,000 square
Oh, yeah.
foot reserve requirement and changing the septic separation above the water table. Is that in NHDS regulations?
Yeah.
Were you gonna try and find out why they changed it?
Oh, they didn't change.
Oh,
I called and talked to them. And the 4,000 square foot requirement is still an absolute requirement for subdivision.
oh,
So so that begs the question, right, that begs the question of if it's an already existing law, then the state does not do that. Because they only do that, they only require a 4,000 square foot receiving area to be shown if the land is being subdivided.
Okay. So the town then,
So
You look so thrilled.
so if this is a lot that already exists and somebody wants to put a septic system on it, they would have to follow our ordinance, and our ordinance says they have to show the 4,000 square foot area.
So ours would be the same whether it was subdivision or not. It's still 4,000,
Correct.
so we don't have to change it.
Well, I think that there are elements in town that are saying, if it's not a requirement for an existing building lot, why are you making it one? Because it's state.
Only state requirement is for subdivision.
Correct.
They're like, DES doesn't have their own, that's all it is for.
DES doesn't take jurisdiction on a lot that already exists.
Yeah, because I couldn't find anything like put out by DHS, but it could be the state. I didn't go through the state subdivision.
I mean, they still require that there be a state approved septic system.
Okay,
Inspected.
But that septic system, no real septic system requires 4,000 square feet of area to place.
sorry. I think.
It's made, most septic systems are closer to half of 4,000 square feet. The 4,000 square foot number for subdivision is to ensure that if a septic system fails on the divided lot, that you can just put it on untouched virgin soil in that 4,000 K area and put in a new system right away. Nobody really does that in real life. They use the existing field, they strip out that old soil and they bring in new soil. Because that's more costly on a replaced system.
But the health department is, the Kensington Health Department is,
Because that is the cost effective way to do it. And that way, once the bad soil is gone, you're just placing down new soil and your trenches are they all fit right where they are. And there's probably stone there that you didn't have to remove.
A good case in point is right on Cottage Road. 2 houses away from it. Their septic system failed. They needed to put in a new one. They dug up where they were at. They had to get it inspected. And, which is another problem, is getting an inspection. And so they put it on the existing one.
But how,
They still didn't have another 2,000 square feet without carrying up a gazillion things.
right,
You know,
our ordinance allows the health inspector to make whatever deviations from the rules are necessary.
Yeah.
So we already have that allowance for the whoever is inspecting the septic system. So if the request is that there not be 4,000 square feet, the health inspector can do that according to our rules.
But if they don't need to, really don't need to have it, why should we have it?
Well, so we list it in the subdivision regulation, not separate, we're saying that complies with the
That's
state, that's 4,000. Now I'm in the site plan review regulations, and I'm under section 4.6I, where it says water supply and sewage disposal systems. And in that section, we only say it must be sized to adequately meet the needs of the proposed use under the regulation of New Hampshire water supply pollution control system.
Yeah, and that's because.
And or the town of Kensington subdivision regulations, but if you're not subdividing, that doesn't apply.
And that's because septic systems for commercial facilities
Or different.
can far exceed, the size of the septic system for our house.
And those
So
are
where do
general.
we have in here, Vermont?
I'm sorry?
Where do we have it written that anybody needs to have what I?
I'm wondering if it's an interpretation.
We state in our septic system design
Okay,
ordinance that there be a 4,000 square foot reserve.
But under subdivision or somewhere else?
No, in the septic system design ordinance.
where is that?
That's in the zoning ordinance.
When you look it up.
Health standards, septic regulation.
Because Because I think that the ordinance says actually really help, it doesn't say health inspector.
Right.
It says they want to help. So that determines the trigger one who's in charge.
But when they were redoing their septic system, they had to wait for an inspection from the inspector from Rockingham County. And there's only one, and he works 2 days a week, and they had to wait 3 weeks. to get-
That's not kind. We have 3 weeks of no septic?
They kept on pumping into the tank. It wasn't going out into the leach field,
And then they get the tank.
then they would have to have a tank.
So on page 81 of the
Correct.
zoning ordinance, we define the septic reserve area as a portion of the lot containing land area of 4,000 square feet as required by state regulation for leach system sizing, reserved exclusively for the location and operation of a septic system and the duplicate area for replacement. However, this definition, based on our conversation, I believe is specific to subdivisions only. So
Yeah,
if we were,
That's not accurate.
if we were to clarify, this is what we changed. The definition
You heard earlier.
in Article 7.1, septic regulations.
So there is no septic reserve area for, other than subdivision, is that,
I just wonder if we say,
or it's not 4,000 square feet?
There is not a state mandated one other than for subdivision, yes.
so if we change the definition here, and we just said is defined as that portion of a lot as required by state regulation for leach system sizing reserved exclusively, like if we just took out containing a land area of 4,000 square feet, does that square everything up? Because we still say in the subdivision regulations
I mean,
that the septic area must be 4,000 square feet for subdivision.
Right.
but wouldn't you have to reference that there too anyways? I mean, in septic design.
So
I know, but
Just the health regulations. And I'm not saying that I'm just removing the square foot from the definition. Just defining a septic reserve area as
As an area for what it does.
an area for what it does. And elsewhere in the regs, we specifically say for subdivision, it must be 4,000. But this would get you out of your predicament. Okay, I can write up a draft of that word.
Oh, I can write that up.
Okay.
And that would likewise be the public here.
Yes, so we'll add that to the public.
Because when we call this public regulation, it was adopted as an ordinance.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get us out of here quickly, but there's one more that was on the list that has caused some heartburn. For
short-term rentals.
Nope,
That's what I thought it was gonna be.
nope, the aquifer protection zone. Change the septic separation from 4 feet above the water table to 2 feet above the water table. Is that something else that you've been seeing?
That is something else we've been saying. State of truth.
The state is.
The engineers that stand in front of us say the rest of the state is at 2 feet. Why are you guys at 4?
Glenn, why are we?
I mean, my count, they're all on 4, so they obviously don't work in big fields, where they're chasing.
So it's not the rest of the state. So
I mean,
it's not,
it's anyone who adopted the aqua protection ordinance that the RPC put out in the early 90s.
so it's not really the rest of the state,
It's not what?
the rest of the state. If
It
somebody
really
says
is
that,
not.
it's not.
It really is.
Statement was made by a surveyor here to the health board, and
I
he
understand.
made it that sound like all the surrounding, I think he said that all the surrounding towns are at 2 feet. And then Well, he said no. The ones that he works with are 40, so.
And I would go on to say, I doubt that you'll find that in every town that has an aquifer protection ordinance, but I can't speak for anyone else with the tax that I know.
So it's best to leave it as is and then have them request a variance if.
I think it would be beneficial to just talk to RCCD and ask ask Mike Cuomo if he thinks that that's something that's too old fashioned or not. Because he'll know exactly how many to out here have it, because he's test pit inspector for a lot of towns. So I mean, I will have that conversation with Mike before we meet for the December, no, I'll have that before we meet November, our public hearing in November, yeah. Yeah. Because I value Mike very highly. If he says that 2 feet is adequate, even in a groundwater protection district, he is speaking as a wetland scientist and a soil scientist and a septic system designer. And as a person that does all those things on behalf of counties, not somebody who typically does it on behalf of just residents that want to save money. So he's a really reliable source. Yeah, yeah. Good. So I will absolutely have that discussion with him before our November, what is the date, 19th?
Yes.
Public hearing.
Would he be the Rockingham County inspector?
He is the one who tested witnesser in septic system.
Probably the guy that maybe was waiting.
Most likely.
I guess he only works like 2 days out of the week. For Rockingham.
Right, yeah, when he works for RCCD.
Yeah.
Two days out of it. He works every day, so, or 8% of the day.
For Rockingham.
Okay, so Glenn, we put some more things in your court.
Yes, yes.
So you're gonna do the language, the warrant article language for the ADU based off of the changes we made today. The definition of septic reserve, and then you're gonna look into the aquifer.
Right, 1 second, I want to get his feedback on it.
To close out the local land use boards, we're not going to do that as a warrant article. We are going to add it to the rules and procedures simply as an RSA reference. Peter, I can provide you with that language.
Right, we'll reference all the ones we know that apply.
Yeah.
Would you need to review these at the next board meeting for everybody, or is it? How do you want to?
Yeah, we can review. Well, the warrant articles, will be language that we have to review, and then we can just review this quick change.
Okay.
At the next meeting, depending on how long our hearing takes. So that takes us to the end of the agenda for the day. Is there anything else?
Well, what did we decide about, or did we? I don't even remember.
No.
Sean,
We asked everybody to read the article that was provided about
Yes.
how the Supreme Court
About
stood
short
over towns,
Yeah,
and what the response should be, and then we haven't done anything else about
okay, so I missed short-term rentals. So would we like to entertain a warrant article for short-term rentals at this time?
it. No.
I strongly believe this is an issue here.
Is there anyone that is interested in pursuing a warrant article? If
well,
so,
so just tell me, I'm really not. but-
yeah,
So if we don't have, I mean, I got a patent, so I'm gonna use myself as
Yeah.
an example. It's not gonna happen. You know, so if some college kids every week in the summer wanna come and rent my place with nothing, we don't have any regulations. I can do it.
You could do that.
Just like we've been
Well, I mean,
through the past 400 years.
Right,
Yeah,
you could do it now,
We'll figure it out.
and who's
Well-
gonna come to Kensington?
No, I know,
well,
I'm,
the
I'm.
condition is that you have to live in one of the properties while you're renting it. like you're equally inconvenienced by Airbnb it because to have an ADU, you have to live on one of the properties.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
It isn't gonna be a problem for Kensington, I don't think.
Okay, so we're gonna table that for next year and see if we feel differently.
The only thing, the police department is having an issue with a short-term rental facility in town. And they have been going out to this place quite often for issues about the owner taking people's belongings if they don't pay their weekly rent and taking it all away and.
But I can't write into the RSA.
Yeah,
You
that's-
cannot be an asshole as a landlord.
I would love to tell them about assholes now. That article I can.
That would make more than one meeting.
I'm used to the term of the asset. I just want that definition of law.
I didn't tell you my husband.
Okay, so, great, we will table short-term rentals for another year if we believe that this becomes more prevalent. Yeah, more relevant.
We are.
Relevant. I was between relevant and prevalent.
Keep going, Val. I heard.
Aaron and I had an interesting conversation on the car ride over here about me mixing words, and that's why he's calling me out on it again. Okay, so the only thing left would be next meetings. The next planning board meeting is scheduled for November 19th. Peter has generously put together our packets already, so they are here for you to take with you. I asked that we not hand them out so that we were not tempted to discuss an application outside of the hearing. So your packets are there. You can grab them on the way out. And can we just notify Dan and Justin that they have packets waiting for them here? I do have noted on the agenda that the next planning board workshop is December 3rd. Does anyone feel a need to add a December workshop? Typically, we do not have the month of December since it's sandwiched between Thanksgiving and Christmas and everyone gets a little bit busy with the holidays. So if there's a reason to have that workshop, we certainly can add one to the schedule.
Well, only if there's a problem with what we want to put on,
The warrant.
Yeah.
And I think we squared that away pretty well today,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, it might mean that at the hearing, we might want to spend an extra 15 minutes or something
Yeah.
just to firm that up, and
Yeah.
so that it's all ready for the summer hearing.
Okay, so it's done.
That sounds fine to me.
I don't think we'll plan on no workshops since it's not typical in December. Of course, reserving the ability to bring it back after the next meeting, and then feel that it is
Seems like a really nice idea.
necessary.
Well, I don't think we had one in December, right along.
It's typically not in
Yeah.
December, again, because with the November meetings and Thanksgiving and the mad rush to the holidays.
But we do come back right after the meetings, I think.
I think we probably take January off because it falls right after the new year. Unless we need it for warrant articles, and then we start up again in February. I believe. I can check.
That makes sense. I just thought I remembered that.
I think it might.
And the changes.
Yes.
Maybe.
If we want it all the time, we could go.
Are we talking about January?
Yeah,
We had one on January 17th.
right, that's.
Well, that would be.
Okay.
But we can always have a non-public workshop before the public hearing.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
So typically workshops are February, March, April, May, September, October, and November. So we would,
6 of them?
yeah, so we would resume workshops in February. Because our workshops meet on the first Wednesday of the month, that's usually really close to New Year's, and so we,
Except that there's one of those.
yes, so, but that's.
But it's
that's
still-
why.
Yeah, it's still lining up.
I can.
February, March, April, May, February, March, April, May, then September, October, November.
There's a lot of tree types.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the ones like, oh,
September, October, November. So we do not do them in December, January, or June through August. All right, is there anything else that I've forgotten today that we'd like to discuss? With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion to remain.
Second.
All in favor? There we go. Don't forget your packets. We have,
We have just one here.
yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll do the third.
It's a juice.
Glenn has not yet provided comments because this application just came in, so. Yep.
I told you,
there's a small,
Yeah.
there's a small subdivision. There's me won't take it out of my subdivisions.
That's true.
Yeah.
Logistically, Aaron is also stepping off the board because we need to divide and conquer starting in March, and I will need him home to watch a kid.
Seriously? Can I say I? Oh,
I've approached the point where like I gave a lot of way to where it's out.
And I never say that. Because at the end, no, man, that's it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Right now, we're entertaining Exeter as an option as long as there are any complications.
My wife worked up there for 20 years.
Like,
I'm ready to get them.
It's his idea.
I'm on.
He's like,